All right, Mark, what are we doing today?
We're gonna do a very long overdue refresh for all of my suspension for
the bucket.
Yeah. So basically, they bullied me into spending all of my money on some.
We bullied you?
Yeah.
You didn't want to do this willingly?
No.
With like some persuasion?
Okay, maybe a little bit of that. But anyways, so right here we have it all set out. So the GKTech stuff, this is gonna be the rear suspension combo that they have. So it's gonna be rear, lower adjustable control arms, and then these are the toe arms, and then traction arms, and then for the front, I got some DMAX tension rods, and then just like a OEM refresh for some lower ball joints, inner and outer tie rods,
all Moog.
Yeah, all Moog. And then the most expensive part, I got some Stance Coilovers. These are going to be 24, 22 spring rates.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So why'd you go with Stance?
Because the whole Amos gang got Stance.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut in real quick. So you guys might see right now with like all of YouTube, for some reason everyone is pushing Stance products a lot, where everyone is kind of like trying to sell their own version of Stance coilover collaborations. We're a really small channel, we're not sponsored, but we have been running Stance suspension for like 7 or 8 years on all our cars before like this became a huge thing that got blown up, because we just believe in the product ourselves. We're not sponsored, we don't make money, we like Stance, and the homies at TF are cool. We had a lot of friends that used to work there. But yeah, I have Stance suspension on my S14. Raymond has it on his FRS over there, and then we have it on a bunch of different aimless cars, so we decided to run it on Mark's IS2. But yeah, Mark,
Yo.
What do you want to start with, the front or rear suspension?
I don't know what's easier. Rear.
The rear is easier, so maybe we should do the front first to get it out of the way,
Okay.
and then go to the rear.
Yeah.
Or do you want to do the easy part first?
We can do the front first then.
Okay.
Whichever.
Yeah. So we're gonna jack the car up real quick, and then we're gonna get to work on everything, and then we'll walk more in detail of why we went with all the arms we did and how to set everything up properly. So we got the car fully jacked up and the wheels off the front. Mark, walk us through what you are working with.
I'm working with. What am I working with?
Okay. So currently, Mark already has, if it will focus, a Megan roll center correction kit on the front of his car, and then he has some eBay coilovers. We're not sure what the name of these are, and everything else here is pretty much stock and blown out, so that's why we're changing everything.
And don't forget about my shortened spindles.
Oh yeah. And then also, one thing Mark already has on this car that's a huge bonus is shortened spindles. I believe these are shortened like 40 or 50 millimeters by our friend Jason, who was one of our friends from high school, so shout out him. And that's one thing you have to not do anymore.
And what's this one? JZX upper control arm?
Oh yeah, you have JZX100 upper control. Fuck. Yeah, JZX100 upper control arms. And the reason you want to do shortened spindles when you lower these cars is because if you don't, the spindle will start smacking the top right there where you guys can see a dent, and you're gonna start bending your strut towers. So what we're gonna be starting with is the inner and outer tie rods. I'm under the car right now, and this is the steering rack and where the boot is for the inner tie rod. I already took the little clamp off right here because it's a struggle. Raymond already took the little cotter pin off for the outer tie rod, and he's about to take it off with just a 17 millimeter. And then afterwards, we're gonna take the inners out. We were going to actually do this like the proper way, where we were gonna have the wheels on the car, put it down on ramps, use toe plates, get a measurement, do one side at a time, and then basically put it together, setting the toe so we don't have to get alignment afterwards, kind of like how we did on that car before when we did the angle kit. But that's a lot of time commitment, and honestly we are pretty confident we could eyeball it close enough that it can make it to an alignment shop, because we want to align it anyways. So we're just gonna do it the normal way and not the janky, we're trying to save money on an alignment way. But yeah, we're gonna start off with the inner and outer tie rods, and then afterwards we're gonna unbolt the actual do you want to do the traction arms first or the coilovers?
We can do arms first.
Okay, so we'll do the traction arm, and then we'll move on to the coilovers. All right, Mark, what happened?
We don't have the tools.
Yeah, so we're trying to take the inner tie rod off, and the thing that sucks about being a good friend and helping all your friends out is you let a lot of friends borrow stuff, and I have an inner tie rod tool that, you know, I use for myself, but more often than not, my friends use it, and I always forget who uses what. I just assume they'll bring it back at some point. But yeah, somewhere along that line, someone borrowed my inner tie rod tool, and no one knows who has it. So we're not sure what we're gonna do right now, but because we're not gonna be able to get the inner tie rod off right now, we're just gonna move on to the traction arms, or the front caster arms, whatever you wanna call it. And to do that, first you need to unbolt this giant brace that's all under the car, right over, let me see if I could get this on camera. This brace that goes from like the actual traction arm right here on this bushing, all the way through to the subframe, and then to the other side, that all needs to come off to be able to take the arm off. So Raymond's gonna take that off real quick, and then we'll get back to you guys when we actually go to take that arm off. So Raymond's gonna undo the brace right now. He's gonna start with all the 14 millimeters that attach it to the chassis and the subframe before undoing the 17 for the arm, because that way the arm is still like kind of locked in on the chassis. And then afterwards, we're gonna take the 17 out and the other two that are in the front to take the arm out. To give a quick overview of how to remove this brace, there's basically 3 bolts on each one of these corners and then 2 here on the subframe. You want to start off with the 14 millimeters that attach it to the chassis first, 2 on each side, and then 2 in the middle, and then afterwards remove the 17s that attach through the arm, because that is what holds the arm in place. But now there's only 2 more bolts that are holding the actual arms in place right over. So this right here is the traction arm, and these are the 2 remaining bolts. These are very easy to strip when you guys go to install it, so when you go to install it, be very careful. But yeah, Raymond's just gonna take these 2 bolts off real quick, then this arm will come out. But then afterwards, the wheel is gonna try to fly towards the back of the car, because that's what's basically supporting it. So be ready for that, Raymond. So the 2 stooges got the traction arms off the front of the car. The reason Mark is changing this is because both of the bushings are completely clapped on this car. So what used to happen is when he would brake, the actual wheel would like fly towards the back of the wheel well, because these bushings basically are your caster adjustment, and because they were shot, the wheel would fly back. So Mark picked up these DMAX traction arms, which have adjustable caster in them, but the biggest reason he got them is for the spherical bushing right here, which is going to help with wheel deflection. And then they also have a little bit more angle. Can you help mock these up real quick?
All right.
Okay, so you can see how the OEM ones, they're kind of like straight, and then the DMAX ones have a lot more of a curve to it. This helps with wheel clearance when you're drifting. And yeah, is there any other reason you got DMAX?
Because you guys just
No. What was going on with the IKEA arms and everything else that you're trying to buy?
IKEA arms?
Remember the tariffs and everything?
Which one were those?
Okay, well, Mark, I don't know what the fuck is going on with him right now, but he was looking at IKEA arms, and there was this huge thing with like tariffs, so he didn't want to risk buying it and having to pay tariffs on them. The IKEA formula? KFD? And then he was looking at KFD, and they also had a Russian tariff, remember? It was like $200 extra charge on top of them. Damn. So yeah, he decided to go with DMAX. So we went ahead and adjusted the front tension rods, and we just basically added a little bit more length than OEM and just made them match side by side. We're not sure what we adjusted them to, but this is just going to be a baseline for the alignment guide. But yeah, we had to go to Harbor Freight and get a new adjustable wrench and an inner tie rod tool, because again, when you have a lot of friends and you try to help them out, they lose your shit and you don't know which one lost your shit. So I had to buy another inner tie rod tool. The only reason I justified buying one instead of renting one at O'Reilly's is because I like to have it for this car, and we're about to do the angle kit on it. So yeah, now Raymond and Mark are gonna throw this into the car, and then we'll see what we do after that. So we went on ahead and removed the inner tie rods from the car also. To do that, we used a Harbor Freight inner tie rod tool, and the size of the little clip that we used was 32.5. The way this works is you basically slip it onto the little 2 notches on the tie rod. You can see there's a notch right there and a notch right there. So you basically, sorry, I'm doing this one-handed. You slip it on, and then you take that tube right there, slip it through the actual tie rod, lock it in, and untwist it. It comes off fairly easy. The only thing that was a struggle is this car still had the little factory locking tabs on it, so we had to bend these out of the way, and then it came out fairly easy. And then after that, Raymond and Mark went ahead and buttoned up the little traction tension caster arm thing in the front. To do that, we basically just tightened this section first, because this is known as strip, and then after that we went ahead and tightened the little brace in place, and then the 17s here in the back. But now we're going to move on to installing the new inner tie rods, then probably the lower ball joint, which is right over, where is it? right over here connected to his Megan roll center correction thing. So first we're gonna do the inner tie rod, but not bolted in the knuckle, but we're just gonna get the inner in and then undo this, change that. And then what else do we have to do in the front?
Ball joints?
Bolt, that is a ball joint.
What? Ball joints, inner outers?
I guess we're done in the front after that, huh?
Yeah, then we out to these.
Yep, and then we're out to the rear. So we ran into quite a dilemma and we're not sure how to go about this, but we have a pretty big issue when it comes to tie rods and angle. Shamba, can you help me explain?
There were some parts on the car that we didn't know were there, but now we know.
Yeah, so I guess the previous owner of the car, John, had installed these Megan roll center correctors on here with a new ball joint. And with that, you run GS300 outer tie rods with stock inner tie rods. But Mark was basically replacing everything back to stock, and he ordered IS300 outer tie rods, which are quite a bit shorter than the GS ones, and they'll be fine if we remove the Megan like bump steer correction kit that adds a little bit more angle. But the thing is, we're setting this car up so Mark could basically get into drifting and drift it, so it'll be kind of counterintuitive to backtrack and take angle away. So we were trying to come up with a solution here, and we basically realized that the best solution would be to basically upgrade the angle setup, which we are not able to do today. But yeah, this is the dilemma. Both of these are stock IS300 inner tie rods. This is the one that was in the car. This is a brand new one. And these are the outer tie rods, the 2GS and the IS300. I have them set to exactly the length they used to be in the car. You guys could see the rust line where the outer used to meet up with the GS one, and they're at this length. There's this much thread engagement in the inner tie rod. If we run the IS300 outer tie rod at the same length, there's like no thread engagement on the inner, and it'll probably fail. So we know we can't run the IS300 outers. These outer tie rods from the GS, the little grease fitting on the bottom like snapped off and there's a bunch of dirt in it, but they're not blown yet, but they do work. And we have new basically OEM ball joints for the lower, which would delete the Megan one and take away angle. But we're deciding we could probably use these as a core if we decide to change up the angle setup to something else that will basically cut and weld it further in, or just not use it at all. But I don't know. Mark, what do you want to do?
You guys want me to spend more money?
I do want you to spend more money. That's what I'm good at.
You are good at that. A little too good.
What do you think you should do, Champa?
I don't know.
Anything?
I don't know. What would you do?
What would I do?
TDM?
What I would do is what I think we're going to end up doing. The GS tie rods are not completely blown yet. The ball joints that are in the car aren't completely shot yet. And we did change the inner tie rod, which was blown. So in theory, the car should drive a lot better. I would just put the GS tie rods back in along with the Megan setup and just run that for now. But like basically save on the side, and we're basically going to improve the angle setup later and just continue on with the rest of the project because we're running out of daylight and we have a lot of stuff to do. But that also reminded me of another thing that John did, which I think is hella funny. Basically, to run the GS outers with the Megan angle setup, you need to cut the inner tie rods. John didn't cut the inner tie rods. He cut one of the outer tie rods, so basically it would like fit and get his like toe within spec. But because he did that, the rack wasn't centered, and so if we do put it back together, we were planning on centering the rack, we wouldn't be able to center the rack. I don't know, this is like one of those rabbit hole situations that I hate with cars. It's like you get on a project that someone else started and you don't know what's going on and you go in blind and you get fucked. But yeah. Now we're just gonna basically put the GS outers back in, put the OEM inner back on here, but the new one, and keep going, and then move on to the rear. But yeah, cars, fun, right?
Fun.
While we're in limbo, we're just gonna kind of put the car back together so Mark can enjoy and drive it as like it is. But yeah, we're gonna start by putting the inner tie rods on, and for that I put some blue Loctite. I'm not sure if you guys will see this on there, but I also put the little lock washer on here that has 2 tabs, and those 2 tabs line up with the rack. So yeah, just gonna put this in real quick like that. And now I'm gonna take the inner tie rod tool and slip it on there. Grab the little tube. Not a little, but you know what I mean. Ratchet. So tight. So now that we got the inner tie rod in and tight, we're gonna put the little condom on it. It just kind of slips on.
Too small.
Too small.
I told you to get the Magnum.
Yeah, actually it doesn't reach.
Agent driver.
Fuck you.
So now that we have both inner tie rods in the rack, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna move on to the inside of the car and turn the wheel from lock to lock on both sides and make sure that the actual rack is centered. If not, we're gonna pull the steering wheel off with the hub and then make it so it has the same amount of turns on both sides and stick it back on. So at least we know that the rack is centered, because right now it's not. So right now we have both inner tie rods on the rack, so the rack won't like go too far and overextend, but we don't have the outer tie rods in, so there's nothing like limiting where it would hit to prevent us turning as much as possible on the rack. So we're just gonna turn all the way to the left, and it's like straight up and down. Now we're gonna turn all the way to the right, and it's a little shy of straight up and down, so it's probably like off one tooth, but honestly that's pretty good. Do you want to fix it? No. We'll just fix it since we're right here. We're just gonna pop the little Nardi horn button off, take the little 17 out, just take it off, spin it, put it back on, it'll be straight. So last night, the last thing we did was put the GS tie rods back in the car just temporarily. We decided that we're just gonna order another set of tie rods from a GS and put that back in the car how it used to be, with the Megan like angle roll center correction kit. And the reason for that is because we don't want to backtrack and take angle away when Mark's supposed to be learning how to drift on this car. But yeah, that was like a couple hours wasted because we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and before we knew it, the sun was down and we pretty much made like little progress yesterday. But today we got Champa, we got a Milwaukee, and we got all the rear arms. So hopefully by today, definitely by the end of this video, we're gonna have rear arms in, coilovers in, car on the ground, car driving. Ready?
Yeah, okay.
So do you want to start with the front coilovers because we didn't finish the front up, or do you want to start with the rear
It
arms?
doesn't matter to me, whatever. What's easier?
Probably
the front.
Probably the front. I want to get the hard part out of the way. Let's do the rear arms.
Okay, never mind.
So what we're gonna do right now is take the back wheels off the car, and then we're gonna start replacing all of these arms, starting with this rear lower control arm, which I guess now that I'm looking at it, it makes sense to take this out to get the coilover out because that's how it comes out. So we're gonna do the rear lower arm because that's where we're gonna gain our camber adjustment from. We're gonna change the coilover, which is this rusty shock on top of it. We're gonna change this arm here in the front, which is the traction arm, which basically sets your wheel where it is in the wheel well. I'll show that better when I come out from under the car. And then we're gonna change the toe arm. Wait, what the? This car has aftermarket toe arms.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. They're pink.
I don't know what pink is. What's pink?
If anyone knows what toe arms these are, let us know. I didn't even know this car had toe arms. I'm stuck. But yeah, so the traction arm, what it's gonna do is basically center where the wheel is in the wheel arch. We like to run our cars with a little bit longer wheelbase, so we actually move the center of the wheel further back. So me and Champa are emptying Mark's trunk so we could get to the little strut tower bolts that are under this carpet. And we took everything out, it's all over there. We were lifting the little floor, and what'd you find, Champa?
No, what'd you find?
Look at this. That's a perfect spot for his OEM steering wheel. Why does that fit perfectly?
I don't know.
That's pretty funny. But yeah, we're gonna quickly just take apart the trunk interior so we could get to the little bolts that attach the coilover to the top of the chassis, and then we're gonna start tearing everything apart down here. For anyone curious of how much stuff you need to take apart to get to these like top nuts for the coilover, you pretty much need to strip the entire trunk. Look at this. There's so many clips and like bolts and stuff that attach all that together. Like there's these like hook things that attach right here and here, and then a screw that goes here, and just a bunch of clips everywhere. But yeah, now we finally have access to these nuts right here, so we're gonna take this off on this side and that side, and then we could finally go to under the car.
There you go. This one came off you.
It's way too close. So me and Chamba got all the rear arms out. Any thoughts about that?
It wasn't too good.
It wasn't too bad. Everything came out fairly easy other than these KFD arms that the old owner of the car, John, installed because he put the eccentric on the wrong side, so it was hitting the chassis. But I don't know. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
Now you guys could see the difference between the GKTech arms that we're swapping between with the OEM ones and the KFD arm. You can see the GKTech arms have a lot more options for where you want to mount it on the subframe versus the OEM only has one option. And then the sway bar end link has 4 different options. If you want to change by going more towards the inside, it'll make it a little stiffer, more on the outside, less aggressive. Same thing with the shock. You can mount it here and it'll basically change the pivot point of the shock to be from here to here, effectively making it stiffer. Or if the car's set up to like stiff already, you can move it out and it'll be softer, which is pretty cool about the GKTech lowers. And then same thing with the basic the toe ones compared to the KFD. It's just a spherical versus a poly. This might be a little more aggressive and wear a little faster, but I prefer spherical. And then OEM traction arms versus the GKTechs, it just has a adjustment. So we're probably gonna make these a little shorter because it is in the front of the subframe, which will move the, no, we're gonna make these longer to make the wheel further back in the wheel well. But yeah, came out fairly easy. We got the stance coils over here. We figured out what coils are or were on the car. They said, what did they say, Chamba?
I don't know.
Kanaka? What the fuck did that say?
There's a hella GDM.
Yoknaka or whatever. I don't know, but they're garbage. If anyone wants those, they can have it for free. Now we're just gonna go ahead and do the reversal of what you guys seen and mount everything up. And if anything comes up, we'll show it. So now we're gonna quickly show how we're setting the length on these arms. We're gonna start with the toe arms. And for that, we're using what was on the car as a reference, which was the KFD team arm. So the way we're trying to do it is we're just matching it up with the old arm, basically looking through this hole and making sure it lines up here, and then basically eyeballing the ball joint. What we learned is that the easiest way for us to do it is we grabbed a piece of green tape, put it on this flat part after we bottomed out both ends after putting the boots, and then spun it out 10 full turns. That ended up being pretty much perfect, and then we just spun one side an extra quarter turn to orient it, otherwise they would have been both flat. And now we're going to do the same thing on this arm, but first we had to put the little dust covers on. They do supply like measurements if you want to be super like critical and make it OEM length or whatever they recommend, but we got smooth brains, we're not doing that. We're doing this with eyeballs. But yeah, so first we're just going to take the arm and unscrew both sides. So there's going to be a wave washer, you don't want to lose that. Then there's gonna be some grease right there. Don't touch that because you're gonna want that to stay on the thread so it doesn't corrode over time. So now we're gonna take the boot, and the easiest way to do this is basically put the threads through the spherical point first, down like that. There is a zip tie right here, so you're gonna have to cut it eventually. I like to cut it after because it does have enough stretch, so just go on ahead and stretch it over. And then cut the zip tie. So we got both fully bottomed out. Now the way I like to do it is piece of tape. We know that's the top. I'm actually gonna do it like that. And now since the reverse thread, as we spin this, I think it's to the left, it'll actually turn this side out and turn that side out because this side's reverse thread, that side's normal thread. They're gonna work against each other. And you wanna have an even amount of turns on both sides. And now we're gonna lock these sides together. We're gonna do that to the other arm, which is for the traction. And then we'll get back to you guys when we get to the lower arms. So we just finished setting all the lengths to all the arms. For the toe arms, again, we did 10 and then a quarter of a turn clockwise to orient them because they were like 90 degrees from each other. And then on the, what is these, traction arms, we did 10 and then same thing, a quarter. On the lower control arms, we did 5 exactly, and we made them out exactly the same distance on both nuts, so there's like even space on both of them. And you can see when we mock it up, they're pretty much OEM length. They're just a little bit shorter, which should take away a little bit of camber. Our goal here wasn't to get the like alignment perfect. We're just basically setting a baseline to go off of that both sides match. But now we're gonna move on to the coilovers. setting the preload and the height. Basically, we're just gonna match the height to the old coilovers, and for the preload, we're just gonna do 5 mil of preload. You guys would have seen we did that a lot in a lot of videos where we install coilovers, so we're not gonna show it, but we'll get back to you guys once we start installing everything because we need to make some progress. But yeah, we're gonna quickly set the preload on the coilovers and then get to getting it all in the car. So we finished setting the preload on the coilovers. We have all the arms prepped, so we're gonna get ready to throw everything in the car, starting with the back. But yeah, what we decided to do was we did the basic 5 mil of preload on the coilovers, which is just basically getting this collar as hand tight as possible against the spring, locking this against it but hand tight, and then spinning the top one up until you can fit a coilover wrench in between. Very basic, everyone does the same thing. And then after that, we used a caliper and gave 65 millimeters from collar to collar on both coilovers as a baseline. We're not sure how this is going to be, if we need to raise or lower it. It's just kind of a baseline. But yeah, now we're going to throw everything in the car. And side note, Stance coilovers don't come when you nuts. Never seen a coilover not come when you nuts, so we're gonna have to reuse that. And we didn't get an eccentric lockout for the rear. Now in hindsight, it would have been smart to get that, so I guess we're gonna put the eccentrics back in.
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn. Maybe we'll change it later, but probably not. And I guess, yeah, we didn't do the fronts yet. Let's throw everything in the car. So we put the rear arms on the driver's side already. We're gonna show now putting it on the passenger side, but we got a new helper here. Joe came over because he has some issues with his car that we're gonna try to figure out today.
It's like idling at like almost 2K.
Yeah, you were complaining about this in the last video too.
Yeah, and gotta check maybe power steering.
So we're just gonna do a little quick glance over. We're gonna do a boost leak test, check his fuel pressure regulator because it's kind of like tucked over there with the gauge facing the wrong way. So we're not really sure. Maybe his fuel pressure went up.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Well, we didn't really touch anything though, so I don't know.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a quick little look over on this car, but after we finish putting this car together, Joe right now has a coilover. He's about to throw it in the car. Can you go from this side and shoot it up so Chomba can get the nuts?
What the fuck can we stand for?
What are your thoughts on the Stance coilover hype, Joe?
Oh no, I'm a Fortunato boy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Oh wait, I gotta go over. Think so?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Fortunato?
Nothing, it's just...
I never had
I
Stance.
thought you had a Subaru.
I never had Stance, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, Jimmy Oaks runs Stance, so shit, it must be good, right?
He also ran BC.
What happened with that?
Yeah.
And then this one's on the top or bottom?
We put it on the bottom.
Yeah, the bottom.
Which one was that one? Which one?
That one.
Yeah, so the difference is if you put it on the top, it's 25 mil lower. If you put it on the bottom, it's OEM.
I don't like GKTech. Is it all this hardware like the
It's like weird.
the standard
size.
fucking?
Yeah,
No,
it's
they
like-
use 18 millimeters
Yeah,
and
20 and
hella big ass shit.
yeah, it's kind of big. I don't think you don't like it though. You think it's cool. You think it's alright.
I just like that it's black.
It's because they don't sponsor Aimless.
A little bit. Oh,
I was like, there's nothing good that's gonna come out of you putting your finger in there.
why'd you fucking let go?
What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, I'm really strong.
I'm always strong.
Let me see your finger.
Nah, it's good. It's fine.
At least it's not your tooth.
Yeah. It just like peel the skin a little bit. That's good.
I got the peel back finger
Yeah.
too.
There. Okay.
Then?
Yeah, there. Is it the weird ass eccentric one, right? Where is it again? Oh wait, oh there you go, there you go. It's in. Right. Hit it with the mallet, hit it upwards with the mallet. Yeah. Okay, wait. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. No, you went too fast. It's in.
So we got all the rear arms put together and we have to adjust everything, but we're gonna deal with that later, and we also still have to do the front coilovers. So yeah, we're gonna deal with that later. Now we're gonna move on to Joe's car, doing a boost leak test. And for that, he already pulled off the intake, so now we're just gonna put a little coupler thing right here, fill it with like 10 or 15 psi, and then you're gonna see how much money you had to spend, because everything's gonna leak. I hope you know that.
I don't think so.
It always leaks. You never tested it, it always leaks. But yeah, for that, I just have a little compressor. I show this a lot of times on the channel, but I just run like a little purple power cap with a valve stem in it, and it works perfectly on SRs. So we're just gonna shove this in the intake, fill it with air.
You clamp this?
Yeah, clamp it. Can you do it for me? We got everything hooked up, little compressor, gauge, coupler. Can you hit the switch on the compressor? It's in the front. Right here. And now we're just gonna fill it with air. That is a slow leak, but let's see what happens when we put like 10 psi in it. Yeah, you hear it.
Over here.
Where?
Oh.
Yeah.
I hear it in the back right here too.
Yeah, somewhere over there.
I told you, this is not something you do unless you want. Oh, dipstick.
Oh.
This is not something you do unless you want to spend money.
So the dipstick will cause my shit to run weird?
No.
Yeah, it's a vacuum leak.
Was it?
Is it?
Yeah, it was leaking. So we're just gonna do this, find all the leaks, and then report to you guys what everything that's leaking, because I guarantee it's gonna be at least 10 things. Remember how I told you that fat ass vent on the intercooler was gonna be leaking?
Yeah.
What'd you find?
Badass leaker.
Yep. So what are you gonna do? Find a exhaust pipe spreader and do that, or just get a new intercooler?
New intercooler?
Yeah.
Like a whole new intercooler kit?
I don't know. What do you
I
want to
gotta
do?
drive Horse Thief Mile this weekend, bro.
Go to Harbor Freight, get an exhaust pipe spreader. But yeah. Leak number 1, leak number 2. There's something leaking back there, and there's something leaking back there.
Do you hear something back there too, bro?
Yeah, I hear something back there.
So
We already knew that though. We're gonna finish the boost leak testing, and then we're gonna try to see if it solves his idle issue. If it doesn't, then it might be his fuel pressure regulator. If it's not that, then Champa, what do you think it is?
I don't know. Which PBM? Isn't PBM in San Diego or something like that?
And we do have a person who's like, you know, he could hook it up.
This guy.
But
All right, so you got the little intercooler pipe out. What'd you pick up, Joe?
that's the flat spot that happened while the pipe was being stored.
Yeah, in the fucking wilderness. But he just went to Harbor Freight and picked up an exhaust pipe spreader, and now we're gonna see if this will work to
I've never used
straighten.
one before, but you just tighten it or what?
Yeah, he's checking it.
All right, so we put the pipe in the hole and we spread that shit.
Yeah, let me see it. Let me see it. It's actually a circle. Throw it in. Let's see if it fixed it.
I mean, it's still like a little, like right here, but
So it's been a couple days, and as you guys can see, the car's on the ground. The other night, Mark pulled up and we quickly threw the front coilovers on the car, but we didn't really adjust anything other than preload and making the height match side to side. So as you guys can see, the front is like a Kansai monster truck. So what me and Champa are gonna do today is we're gonna lower the fronts down, set the toe because we did throw the tie rod ends on and just roughly eyeball it. And then afterwards, we're gonna start working on the rear, where we're gonna try to dial out some of the rear camber, since now we have all adjustable arms. But we found an issue where we didn't realize Mark's quarters are like factory and they're not rolled yet. So we're gonna have to quickly roll the rear quarters. For that, I don't like using a fender roller, even though I do have a fender roller. I just like using a mallet because I feel like it prevents you from accidentally pulling the rear quarters. When you use a fender roller, there's a high chance that you could accidentally pull the quarters just because you're putting like constant tension throughout the entire sweep. When some areas are going to require a lot less pressure, like the very middle, and the sides are going to require more. So yeah, we're just going to quickly mallet the rear quarters flat as we can. We have to cut the rear quarters because I remember on Guillermo's car that we had to do that. But yeah, ready?
Where do you cut?
You had to cut right here. So for some reason on ISs, they like to rub in this little corner right here. So what you have to do is just cut a slit and then hammer it flat and it'll be fine.
Makes sense.
Yeah, ready?
Yeah.
So me and Chama got the car all jacked up and the wheels off. The last time me and Mark worked on it, we ended up cutting the inner tie rods by about ½ an inch, whatever the width of this felt tape is. And that made it so we had enough adjustment that we were basically able to set our toe correctly, because we have Moog GS outers with the stock IS inners with the Megan RC, what is it called?
The roll center adjusters, I think?
Yeah, the roll center adjusters.
RCAs.
So if we didn't cut the inner tie rods, basically we would have a bunch of toe in. I'll overlap a little clip that Mark took of me cutting the inners. But yeah, I didn't film the day that me and Mark worked on it because it was super late and we were just trying to like see how far we get. But we got the Stance XR1s in the front, and for height, we ended up setting from this collar to this collar at 100 mil using a caliper. So now we're gonna probably lower it how much?
Anywhere from like 30 to 40.
Yeah, so we'll probably go down to maybe like 60 millimeters between the bottom of that collar to that collar using a caliper, and see where that ends up being. And then we also had to set the toe because I only eyeballed it. So yeah, we need to dial out a little bit of toe in from the front, and then we'll move on to the back. So we got the caliper at 75 millimeters from one end to the other, and that's the gap between these two collars right here. So we went down about 25 millimeters. Do you think that was enough, Champa?
I don't know, we'll see right now.
Yeah, we're just gonna do the other side real quick, and then we're gonna put the car on the ground. Hopefully that's enough, because the way these front coilovers are designed, that takes a lot of effort and it takes a long time, because unlike a S chassis, this front part isn't a bearing, so it's really hard to spin it because the spring is basically against the top head of the coilover. On like a S chassis, there's like a bearing you're spinning against, so it spins pretty freely. This isn't like that, so I'm out of breath. You having fun, Champa?
It's fucking hot, bro.
Yeah, let me see what you did on the wrench so you don't burn your hand.
No, I just hate how fucking skinny these fucking wrenches are.
Yeah, and then Stance is super cheap. These wrenches don't even fit the coilover.
I don't know why it looks like it's bent.
Oh, the preload was kind of hard.
Oh.
I bent it. But yeah, Champa's gonna be doing this for the next couple minutes, and then we're gonna put the car on the ground. What do you think, Champa?
I don't know. I mean, it's like damn near there. Maybe the front might have to go down a little tiny incy bit, maybe like another 10 mil, but I mean,
Looks decent.
it looks decent.
Yeah, you guys be the judge. Would you leave the car here? The side skirt is somewhat level. The front looks a little bit higher.
A little tiny bit. There's a little incy bit.
I don't know. If it was my car, I would just lower the front
It
and back
depends.
like another 2
I mean,
inches.
if it gets a thicker tire in the rear, then
These are pretty thick. These are 215 45s.
we're trying to go Monster Jam here now.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to think about this for a little bit. The next clip you guys are going to see is either us readjusting the height
Probably.
or getting to the back.
Yeah.
And then also, I did want to document this. I did go under the car with a bunch of wrenches and basically put my hand on every single piece of hardware, and I figured out that like basically the cross member brace and everything was loose, so thankfully I did bolt check it. But yeah,
I think Matt worked on the car, bro, or something.
the noodle arm mat, everything was loose.
Yeah, it was Matt.
Yeah, but now everything's tight in the front. We still need to bolt check the rear, and we still need to decide if we're gonna slam this thing or leave it as is. I think it looks pretty good. Like, it looks decent. It looks like a normal stock IS.
The front arches are always like a little bit higher than the rear, so it's like that's right, it's pretty even.
Do you want to just lower it though?
It's up to you.
After a lot of debating, we decided that we're gonna leave the height here, only because the steering wheel is not at full lock right now because the car's off and someone needs to hold the steering wheel. But at full lock, the wheel is hitting the fender here, so we're okay with minimal rubbing at lock. But if we go lower, it's definitely gonna destroy the fender, so we're just gonna leave it here. Now we're just gonna set the toe in the front using some toe plates and a cinder block, which means we gotta jack the car back up, and then we'll move on to the back. So just to get the alignment close enough that we could drive to an alignment shop, this is how I like to set the toe. I put the front down on some cinder blocks and I put my toe plates and ran it across onto this side. And then when we measured it, we were at, I guess it will come up on focus.
Like 70, like.
The easy way for me to see is it's at the 6th line on this ruler. And then on this ruler, if you would do it, it's like right at the 6. It's like a tiny bit of toe in, but for an eyeball alignment, and the steering wheel being straight, and we drove it around the block a couple days ago when we first put the coils in and it drove straight. Kind of crazy, huh?
Pretty good.
I guess we don't got blue eyes out here, but yeah, now we're gonna move on to the rear. We got the back in the air, and I just want to document this so if anyone tries to say it was me, I could prove it wasn't me. The rear quarters here are not rolled, and as you guys can see, it's all rusted and the paint's all chipped. This is a before, so if anyone tries to blame me for the paint chipping, it was not me. On both sides, the paint for some reason is already clapped and like chipping really bad. Not sure what's going on, but yeah, maybe someone tried to roll these and then saw the paint cracked right away and gave up. But now I'm just gonna go in with the rubber mallet, which is right over, I slipped, my favorite tool right here, and a heat gun. Honestly, we might not even need the heat gun. It's hella hot today. It's like 90.
I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll still hit it with a heat gun, but yeah. Time to get to work. Rolling IS300 rear quarters for dumbasses. So the first step is you want to get a rag and you want to wipe down all the inside of the quarter, because just like what once wiped, you guys could see, that's all the stuff inside the quarter. If you guys fold the inside lip here up and you don't clean this stuff out, you're gonna see like dents and stuff through the paint. So make sure the first thing you do is just like wipe everything in here, and then once you get everything wiped down, go in with some brake clean, spray it all down and wipe it again. And then when you can put your hand in here and not get any dirt on your hands, you're good to go. Then the next thing you want to do for an IS300 is get like a Dremel or an angle grinder or something. And there's this like area right here in this section of the quarter. For some reason, it's super strong on IS300. So what you actually want to do is go in with the Dremel, kind of like this, and just put a slit on the inside till you're almost at the outside edge, and then hammer it in. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is this area gets pulled out really easily. And then after that, just go in with a heat gun, just do a few passes over and over again, get it all warm, and ideally roll your quarter panels on the hottest day you can, because it just helps with like the paint stretching. Don't do it at night, like the night before on a drift event when it's freezing. That's the dumbest thing you could do. But yeah, then after you heat everything up, then you're gonna start heating it up in sections, and just going in with the rubber mallet, just like this, and take your time. Don't try to get it flat on the first few hits. Kind of fold a little bit till it's like from a 90 to like a 60, and then go through a 45, and then a 30, and you're probably gonna end up in like the 20s, because the thing is, this quarter like lip is so thick because the spot welds are here, you're probably not gonna get it flat. Now what I like to do afterwards is very carefully go in with the sledgehammer, and basically imagine this is the quarter right here, and this is the inside part. It'll be like this. You just want to hit the top section till it like folds in like that, because that's the area your tire could catch and pull it down. But yeah, that's rolling IS300 quarters for dumbasses. But yeah, I'm just gonna do that real quick. We're probably not gonna get the best shots of it, but I feel like that explanation should be enough to help all you dumbasses. But yeah, let's get to work. How bad did I fuck up, Champa?
Not that bad.
Yeah, as I showed before I started, the paint was already like chalked on this car with like cracking all the way throughout the quarter panels, so as expected. I'm not sure if it'll come up on camera because of the sun, but all the paint inside the quarter is chipped, but they are rolled flat on both sides. And then one other thing I forgot to mention is we did have to disconnect the coilover at the lower control arm to get it to go lower, because before I did that, I couldn't like have enough room to have like clearance to swing this hammer. But yeah, we're just gonna quickly reconnect the coilover, dial in the rear fitment, and then Chamba, you ready to drive this thing?
I don't know, but at least we got lunch now.
Paint chips?
Yeah, the best.
The best. But yeah.
They're the best color too, the best flavor.
This guy. But yeah, we're just gonna quickly wrap up the rear of the car, and then let's go on a test drive. So me and Chamba just spent a bunch of hours dialing in the rear fitment, and we finally got it perfect. We took a bunch of camber out the rear and got the toe perfect. But yeah, as you guys can see, the quarters are now rolled. The wheels are like perfectly flush, and we got the toe set at an 1/8 inch total toe in between the two sides, which is exactly what we were going for.
Just a little bit.
What do you think, Chamba?
It should drive good.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a little forward bite.
Yeah, this took us a couple hours because we were being very like particular about it, but we got all the arms tight in the rear, everything's solid. We have 0 toe in the front for now because that's just where we got it with the steering wheel straight. 1/4 inch, wait, I don't know what I said earlier, but it's an 1/8 inch toe in the rear, and we're not sure about camber because whatever. I actually do have a camber gauge. Do you want to check?
We could.
Yeah, let me actually get that real quick and we're gonna check. So this is my camber caster gauge, which I use to do rough alignments between like alignments if I do minor changes on my car. But yeah, I basically set the gauge at being a positive 3 degrees is actually 0 degrees because this gauge maxes out at -4 degrees, and we run a lot more negative camber than that in the front of our cars. So yeah, as you guys can see, we're at -4 degrees of front camber on the gauge, which is -7 degrees in reality. And the reason for that is because Mark has JZX100 uppers, which are shorter, so that's kind of just what he's going to be stuck at until he gets like adjustable IS300 uppers. And also keep in mind there's no load on the car, it is off the ground. When it's on the ground, it'll probably be roughly the same just because this car does have an upper control arm. It's not like an S chassis where it's going to gain a bunch of camber. But yeah, -7, and then we're going to go over to the rear where I forgot we still have this set up. Let me just put that down. Sorry for the cut, my dog started going crazy. But yeah, the gauge is reading positive 1.5 degrees. If you guys remember, 3 degrees is actually 0. So we're at negative 1.5 degrees of camber in the rear. And for background, before on this car, Mark used to have negative 5.5 degrees just because that was all his arms had adjustments for. So we're at a big improvement here. The GKTech arms are pretty much maxed out. They do have a little bit more adjustment in them, but because the axles are so compressed, because they are a lower control arm, we don't feel comfortable shortening them anymore. If Mark wants to get more camber out of the rear, he's gonna have to get upper control arms, but I think, what, negative 1.5 degrees in the rear is pretty solid on a IS. You don't want 0 because this car only makes like, what, 200 horsepower. You don't want to grip it up like crazy.
Yeah, if even that.
But yeah, we got the alignment all dialed in. Now, one other thing that we did is, if you guys notice right here, Mark's side skirt, which are OEM TRD skirts, are really floppy. So my dog started barking again, but what I was saying is, if you guys notice here, there is a big gap between the door line here and the side skirt gap. It's about 1 inch, and the reason for that is the side skirts are pretty much just sagging. They're supposed to be flush with the body, kind of like that. So what me and Chamba came up with on the other side is, we basically put a hole on the bottom of his car and put a riv nut in the middle of the side skirt. So now there's a big ass gap right here, but he could put some double-sided tape right there. But if you guys look, the body line is like even all the way through. So when he puts some double-sided tape here, here, and in the front, it'll be pretty solid. We're gonna quickly put a riv nut on the other side, put the car on the ground, and then we'll get back to you when it's time to drive it. You ready? So me and Chamba got the car all on the ground and buttoned up, and it's pretty good. The front fitment, I like it a lot. It has like a lot of negative camber, which I think is cool for my inner stance boy. The rear is like pretty straight up and down, which is cool for my little inner wannabe drifter. But yeah, I think the car is gonna be way too gripped up for Mark now because he's learning how to drift, and he got like damn near 0 camber in the rear. But yeah, what do you think?
I mean, it looks good for now, but I mean, Dylan wants to go a little bit lower in the rear, but I don't know. It's not monster jam or anything. I don't think it's like a monster truck.
I think it's a monster truck. I think the front is literally perfect, but I think the back is just a little too high. But yeah, now the car is all done. We got Stance XR1s, we got DMAX front tension arms or traction arms, whatever the hell it's called. We got full GKTech rear arms, along with stance coils obviously in the back. And what else did we do, Champa?
Side skirt's like fitting a little bit better now.
Oh yeah, we put the riv nut on the side skirt. If you guys could tell, it's like pretty good now. Obviously there's still no double-sided tape, but like
fresh tape, and I think it's good.
Yeah, no more saggy skirts. But yeah, the car is overall pretty good. The paint is still clapped on the roof, but I think it's something Mark could like whip around to work and maybe hit a drift event soon and enjoy. I know right now he's looking into seats, but now that we got the car pretty much all wrapped up, what me and Champa are gonna do is go treat ourselves to a little bit of a joyride. Just realized there's dirt all over my face, and see if the car actually drives straight, because we did eyeball it, but like we didn't measure everything. We made sure the arms are even side to side. We made sure that there is equal toe, like we got the toe where we want it, 0 toe in the front, 1/8 inch toe in the rear. Camber is even side by side. Traction arms are the same length front and rear, so in theory the caster should be the same in the front, and in the rear the wheel should be in the same point of the wheel arch. But that's all theory. We're gonna see when we actually drive it if it actually goes straight. Ready?
Yeah, subscribe so we can buy a alignment machine.
Starts pretty good. What's that noise?
I don't know.
Ignore it.
Yeah. What the fuck?
What was it?
Fuck? I don't want to drive it.
No, just explain it.
Oh.
What was it, Champa?
Dylan fucking, he's preying on his downfall, bro. He threw rocks in the back and between the dust shield and the rotor.
Yeah, so I pretty much just went in here thinking that might have been a rock stuck between the little brake dust shield and the rotor, and a rock fell out. But now the sound is gone, and now, Champa, you gonna drive it?
Fuck no, I want to drive it.
Why not?
I'm scared.
All right, I'll hop in.
Electronic seats?
It's pretty good. You think the steering wheel is gonna be straight?
I don't see right now.
We'll see when I get to the straight section. Let me just straighten out the wheel. Steering wheel straight.
Okay.
It drives straight.
Yeah, drive straight.
No blue eyes, no blue eyes.
This guy.
You hear that rumble though?
Yeah, what is that?
I forgot the wheel bearings are bad on the front of this car. So the next time we work on this car, we're gonna have to do brakes and wheel bearings, but whatever. He could just, oh my God, the brakes don't work.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot his ABS module is bad, so sometimes it like catches, and sometimes it just goes to the floor and does nothing. It went to the floor.
You got a e-brake.
Dude, that's so sketchy. Maybe we're gonna have to do an ABS delete too.
Yeah, maybe. Wait, does the e-brake work? Does it lock up or no?
They're having a little cop gathering on my street right now.
No, I'm not saying they can't give. I'm saying, does it work?
You hear that rumble?
Yeah.
Dude, the brakes are so sketchy. We're gonna have to do an ABS delete. What do you think, Chamba?
I mean, it feels good so far.
Besides the rumble?
Yeah. It's not hella bumpy or anything.
Oh yeah, the coils are I didn't notice. We hit that dip. We didn't even feel it. Huh. What we learned, Chamba?
Fucking Dylan serving all day breakfast.
All day breakfast with the bacon? Yeah, so we cooked this fender a little bit. It was already like kind of bent beforehand, but what happened was coming out of the driveway at full lock, it baconed, but this side is still good. I think it's just one of those things that happens because the way the car was like compressed and backing up. But yeah, hopefully the audio was good when we were driving the car, but what you guys would have heard, hopefully, is that the front wheel bearings are pretty bad. I forgot about that because the car sat at my house for like 5 months. But yeah, it might be the wheel bearings, it might be the front brakes. We'll figure it out the next time we get to work on this car. Right now, I just want Mark to drive it. But at the same time, now that I'm thinking about it, it probably isn't the best idea to drive it if it is a wheel bearing and it's making that crazy of a noise. So yeah, you guys might see us work on this sooner than later. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.